And now, it's time for another Dice Tower review with Tom Vasel.
Hey folks, Tom Vasel here, and today we're taking a look at a game called Hounded. This is a two-player fox hunting game. Now, fox hunting has been declared illegal a while ago, but this takes back when the fox hunting was a thing, and someone had a bunch of hounds, and they chased after a fox in a somewhat cruel sport. But this is a game, and one person is running from the other person who has a lot of extra pieces. It's an asymmetrical strategy game. It has a theme of the fox and the hounds, but it has the feel of an abstract strategy game like chess or so. Now, this is from Atlas Games. You can tell, usually they make games in tins. They often make silly, light games. This is not so much of a light game. It also has a very unique art style where everything is kind of, the artwork is all from triangles and such. And but it kind of leans towards chess-style games. Here's how it plays. Okay, so the tiles are shuffled and they're placed in a random grid face down like this. The tiles will have different things on the back of them. One of the tiles, there are several tiles that are den tiles. One of these tiles is placed on one side of the board with the fox on it. And I have the pieces laying down so you can see them better. And then on the other side of the board, you have the master of the hounds and then the different hounds. So you have a bulldog, you have a terrier, and then you have 3 foxhounds. And so they're placed like this. This is the way the setup is. And the Master of the Hounds player goes first, and then the Fox player goes. So on your turn, you must move, the Master of the Hounds must move 3 of their pieces. So he can move the Master of the Hounds, who can go 1 space in any direction, including diagonally. He can move the Foxhound, which can go 2 spaces in a straight line, or 1 space diagonally. The Bulldog can go 1 space in a straight line. And the Terrier can go 1 space in any direction, but when a Terrier lands on a tile, the Terrier will reveal that tile. In this case, it is a green tile. Unless it's a trap tile or a den tile, the Terrier can look at it and put it face down. The Fox player will then go. The Fox player can move up to 3 spaces, and one of his moves can be diagonal. So this could be his first move here. And the Fox player will always turn the tile over. Now, how does either player win? Well, the Fox player wins if they reveal 3 time tiles. And so I happen to know where these tiles are in this particular one. If those 3 tiles are revealed, the Fox player wins. Or if less than 6 tiles remain unrevealed, the Fox player will also win. So as the Fox player is moving around trying to reveal tiles, this player wins, the Master of the Hounds wins. If the Fox player ends their turn next to the Master of the Hounds, then the Master of the Hounds wins. So the Fox player want to make sure that that doesn't happen, or if the Fox player cannot move. So as time goes by, the players are going to do their best to try to trap the Fox player, and the Fox player cannot move through them unless there are 5 in a line. If there are 5 in a line, then the Fox player is allowed to move through the opposing pieces. The Fox player can also move from one revealed den to another revealed den. When the Fox player lands on a tile, many times the tile will be beneficial. For example, this says, move 2 more spaces and flip a new tile. Or this says, if this one is good, if the Terrier discovers it, says move 2 extra unmoved pieces. So there's benefits to both of them revealing tiles. Most of the tiles are going to be these green ones, which are nothing. But there's also trap. So if the fox lands on a trap, the hunter gets to move all their pieces next turn. And there's also a baby fox around here somewhere that gives both sides a bit of a benefit if they find the baby fox. Here's the baby fox here. If the Fox player finds it, they can flip any 2 tiles. And if the Hound player finds it, they can bury any or all unoccupied dens, which means turn them back over again. So that's it. That's how you play the game. You're going to move back and forth, moving around until the Fox player loses or until he reveals these 3 tiles or a majority of the tiles. Now, when I played this game, I was extremely fascinated by it. It's asymmetrical, and that's really interesting to me. One person's the fox, the other person has several pieces which almost have a chess-like maneuvering. In fact, there's a little card that comes with the game to show you how each one moves. I mean, they pretty much all move like kings to some degree, but you know, the bulldog can only move a certain way. The bulldog's an important piece. I didn't mention this in the overview. If the fox starts his turn next to the bulldog, the fox can only move 2 spaces. So the bulldog is going to hem that fox in and make his maneuverability smaller, while the terrier is revealing pieces and the foxhounds are faster. So what the one player, the fox is obviously, his goals just don't get caught and reveal as many tiles as possible. The Master of the Hounds player is trying to maneuver the fox into a corner or against a wall where they can trap him, where he can't move, or where even if he does move, he's forced to end next to the Master of the Hounds, in which case he loses. And that can be a tricky proposition. In fact, it's an extremely tricky proposition. Now, I'm sure that there are people who are really good at Hounded. I'm sure there are folks, probably the designer and such, and these people will stand up and say the game is evenly matched and evenly balanced. I'm sure that's a very strong possibility. But I'm telling you this, if players are not super skilled and know all the ins and outs of the game, the fox player has a huge advantage. It is so easy to beat a fox. You just run around. The Master of the Hounds has a really hard time hemming that fox in. Being able to move 3 spaces and diagonal and slip through, and they come and you slip over here, and then there's dens and you pop back and forth. And so the Hound player has to be really smart on how they move the different things and hope that the fox doesn't get lucky and then find a den where they can just jump to the other side of the board. It's a really tough game, and again, I went and looked at it, and people said, yeah, after a while, you know, you can make it balanced, but I'm telling you, those first several playings, and maybe even thereafter, yeah, it's really hard for the Master Hounds to win. I've only seen them win once in the games that we played, and that was only because I was the fox, and I said, I wonder if I can run into this corner and run around a little bit and then get out, and the answer is no, you can get caught that way. But if you just don't do that, it's really hard. The impetus is on the Master of the Hounds to win the game. The fox can just run around. That is also coupled with the randomness of the tiles. The randomness of the tiles is not a bad thing as you go around searching for stuff, but if you need the sun, the moon, and the half day, whatever those time tiles are called, if you find all 3 very quickly, the game's over, and there was nothing the Master of the Hounds could do. Again, time isn't on the Master of the Hounds side. He has to go and get you before you find those 3 tiles, and no one knows exactly where those tiles could be. They could be right there. The game could be over very quickly, and I've seen that happen too. And so I think the game is intriguing. It's interesting. I really like the idea of it, walking around. It's so interesting. But it's just not fun because of those reasons. Because the player who's playing the Master of the Hounds is going to be extremely frustrated by the fact that they have a much harder hill to climb. Luck is on the foxhound side by a mile, and maybe they'll get lucky and the fox will land on the trap and then they can move all their pieces, but they have to be in the right position for that really to matter that much. They can have the fox almost in a corner, then the fox can just basically run to the other side of the board, and then it's kind of like, all right, here we go. Let's all start moving slowly across the board again. It's really cool in theory, but in practice, I did not enjoy it as much. I played it several times, each time hoping, like, okay, this time let's try it. This time, okay, this time. No, unfortunately, there's not enough there. So that is Hounded. Dice Tower Judgment, really interesting, but lacking.
Thanks so much for watching the Dice Tower videos. Find more great videos and reviews, as well as our top-rated audio podcast at Dicetower.com. You can also find other great shows at Dicetowernetwork.com. I'm Eric Summerer, and you've been watching The Dice Tower. The Dice Tower is sponsored by Cool Stuff Inc., where you can find great games for great prices. Cool stuff in stock. Check them out at CoolStuffInc.com.
Shut the door!